Zebby Matthews making his first appearance in 2026 and looking like a stud through 7 innings with 5 Ks, no earned runs, and a quality start. Is it time to get ahead of the waiver wire? Find out today.
You are Locked On Fantasy Baseball, your daily fantasy baseball podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, fantasy baseball fanatics. I am Matthew Ahne, and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Baseball podcast, brought to you by the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcasting network. We are here for you 5 days a week, bringing you shows to help you win your league twice a day. So get our double take and our double takes all week long to help you win your leagues. Look, today we got a great show for you. Today we're going to be breaking down must-add players. What does that mean? Your waiver wire. So who are you going to pick up to stream over the weekend? Who are you going to get ahead of the waiver wire for next week? Find out today, and we've got a great segments for you. We're going to start. We're going to have some hitters in the mix with a young prospect that just got called up in Henry Bolte. Then we're going to move and go on to a young, growing prospect who's starting to get hot in Samuel Basallo. And we're going to kick it off with Zebby Matthews, who finally comes out with a great game in his first appearance in 2026. And boy, oh boy, I like where this is going. Zebby Matthews plays for the Minnesota Twins, was one of the top end prospects last year. And honestly, unfortunately, fizzled out and wasn't able to really do much with literally an ERA of an unfortunate 5.56. Not great. So to see him come out in his first big league start of the season and look good gives me some encouragement because the kid has good stuff and was a high-end prospect, like I said. Prior to getting the call in 24, he's done a lot of good things to the minors, had very low ERAs, 2.60 ERA in 24, through 97 innings. Even in 23, he had a 3.84 ERA through 105, and that's when he was an A and A plus at 23 years old. Honestly, it's a little disappointing at the fact that he was not performing at the high top tier that he was in the minors. Maybe he's figured some things out. Looks like he was working on some stuff in the minors. So didn't have an impressive ERA, but who knows? Maybe they were working on some things that just didn't want to carry over into the bigs at the moment. When it comes to pitching, they do a lot of things differently. And what that means is for development aspects of it. You're not in there in the minors to go win big games. It truly mean nothing. It's all about development and trying to show off your stuff to get up to the show. So, they were probably working on some things. Things probably went well, things that didn't work well. And Zebby Matthews is now here, and they're calling him up. And sounds like he's going to make his next start against the Astros next week. Not the greatest matchup, but what I'm planning to do, being that he's 4% owned right now, is add him and get ahead of the waiver wire. I'm probably not going to roll out against the Astros. I'm going to really be honest. Jordan's hitting the coverall. I'm just not trying to roll him out there. It's just too many things to go wrong. Even though Altuve's kind of cooled off, there's a possibility of him kind of going off against Zebby, and Zebby's going to be open for market at that point. But if he goes out there and he performs and he's even able to just walk away with like a 3.5 ERA, I'm going to be pretty happy. That means he came out, he did what he had to do, and he ultimately handled his business. I just really hope that he can do it. The guy was a really good pitching prospect. I'm excited to see what he can do come 2026. So he's more of like a speculative get ahead of the waiver wire. If he pitches well, then we roll him out for the next one. Since he pitched today, he'll probably pitch Monday or Tuesday, and could even possibly be, if he has a good start against the Astros, a 2-star pitcher. So that probably means he's probably pitched Tuesday, and if they don't space him out that much, and it could work out in your favor. So I'm adding him now to just see if I can get ahead of it and see where we can go. Zebby Matthews has some potential, but also could be a waste of an ad. Your choice. Again, 4% owned. Let's move on. Let's talk about Mr. Eduardo Rodriguez going against some Colorado Rockies on Saturday of the 16th, which is tomorrow. He's 42% owned. And Erod honestly has been interesting. Think about Eduardo, I really can't feel like I can count on him for a full season, but he's been lights out so far this season. So far through, 48 innings, 30 days, a 2.25 ERA with a 1.21 WHIP, and 4 quality starts on the season, which is pretty nice. Last outing, 8 innings, 4 strikeouts, a 1.08 ERA, and a 0.84 WHIP looking real good. That was against the Mets. Mets have been doing pretty darn good. Handled the Pirates pretty well right before that. Handled Milwaukee. White Sox hit him up a little bit. So did Baltimore, but then handled the Mets again, Atlanta, and the Dodgers all very well throughout the season. So only 2 bad starts the whole season. Went out and starting against, honestly, anybody can go out there and hit well against the Rockies. Dom and I could. It's just one of those things where, I'm willing to do it. Now, the only downside of his start is he's going to be, starting in Colorado, which kind of changes things for me a little bit, being at the fact that, a little bit bad contact, a little bit of, you know, like 1 or 2 mistakes, and things can go awry very fast when it comes to pitching in course. There's a reason why we like hitters in course, because ultimately it leads to more home runs, and that's kind of the point here with where I'm trying to go with Eduardo Rodriguez. You know, he can get him in trouble really quickly and might not be bailed out because he doesn't have the park to protect him, unfortunately. The things in the underlying stats aren't the greatest either. They aren't atrocious. So the barrel percentage against him is 7.6%. Not bad. It's definitely, if you were a hitter, I'd say you're below average. I wouldn't be too excited about you. The hard hit percentage against him is 35.2%. Like, positive signs there, but doesn't produce enough ground balls. But I'm not mad at that either, at 44.1%. It's not where I'm like worried. It's also not enough where I'm just like, okay, he can subside from this. He also walks a lot of guys, being the fact he has a 1.21 whip on the year. So that I'm not too thrilled about. And the K per 9 has been down a lot, only at 16.5%. But ultimately, if he can keep the quality contact down, the hard hit percentage way down like he's been doing, then I'm really not upset at starting him, because he's diluting the contact being made against him, and that means less home run potential against him, which then makes him a little bit of a safer bet come starting in against course in course. So if you're really doing really well in pitching, maybe don't add him. If you're desperate or you're on the fence and you need that start, Eduardo Rodriguez might be the ad for you just in those regards alone. Again, he's starting tomorrow, so pick him up now. Let's move on. So here's another one that we're going to get ahead of the waiver wire here, Chris. You guys, now I know we didn't do a mustache episode this week. We obviously missed for Mother's Day, and then on top of that, we wanted to give a big, kind of recap on some prospect movement. It's important, even in redraft, top of what prospects are going to be called up, because you never know who's going to get called up, and if they get called up, they can be an instant impact. So why we're talking about Grayson Rodriguez, because he would have been on the show. He's nearing return. Yeah, reports right now, Grayson Rodriguez is a candidate to start Sunday's game against the Dodgers. Not the greatest first start, but still. He looks sharp, with 11 punch outs over 4 and 2/3 innings. He's looking really good in low A. So it's exciting. We all know who Grayson Rodriguez was. It was going to be a top end prospect, and unfortunately was dealing with some injuries, also dealing with a little hard headedness too, because last year we had no idea he was hurt until he was hurt, and then we didn't know he was going to be out, and he was out. So, like, those are the kind of the unfortunate parts when it comes to Grayson, but he's going through the paces, and very well could be a valuable pitcher. Hasn't shown really much good stuff in the bigs. 24 was decent at a 3.86 ERA through 116 innings, but nothing like really like, oh my God, kind of type deal. So I just want to see more. I am willing to take the shot on one because he's free 99, being that he's 16% owned. But also, two, is just one of those things where you're going to take a bet on the talent. He's still only 26 years old, plenty of time to figure things out. And when he was a prospect, last time he was in the minors in 23, 41 innings pitched, a 1.96 ERA with 56 strikeouts, 108 WHIP. Season before that was 75 innings, 109 strikeouts, a 2.62 ERA. Even the year before that, in 21, 103 innings pitched, 161 strikeouts, a 2.36 ERA. Like, if we can even get a little bit of what he did in the minors, he can be a value on your team. So he's worth the stash, and he could have long-term value. This is one of those sneaky little pickups that you do now and potentially win. So, Adam, maybe not start him against the Dodgers. I don't think I am, in all honesty. See how it goes. And if he comes back and he's looking good, boom, you got a pitcher for next week. We can see where this journey takes us. But Grayson's in prime to be a really good pitcher for your rotation, and he's going to have all the opportunity in the world on the Angels now, leaving Baltimore. So why not? Coming up next, we got a couple more. We got a pitcher in Jameson Tyone, and we're moving over to some bats, and we're going to really get into the weeds with those guys coming up right after this. If you've ever opened up your bank account and thought, where did all my money go? You're not alone. Keeping track of your subscriptions, spending, bills can get overwhelming fast. That's where Rocket Money comes in. It helps you take control of your finances all in one place. You can track all your subscriptions in one spot. It can help cancel the ones you don't need just in a few taps. It automatically categorizes your spending so you can actually see what money is going and where. It's really great in that way. And if you set budgets, get alerts, stay on top of your upcoming bills, it just makes everything feel more organized and just gives you a clear picture of your finances just in one spot, right? Rocket Money is a personalized finance app to help you cancel unwanted subscriptions, monitor your spending, and help you lower your bills so you can grow your savings. Let Rocket Money help you reach your financial goals faster. Join rocketmoney.com/locked on. That's rocketmoney.com/locked on. And all right, we are back, and we're just going to roll right into the next segment here of Mr. Jameson Taillon. Tyone is coming out here this weekend, and I'm a fan of what he's been doing so far. Obviously, we'll get into what his possibilities are, things like that for long term. But short term, I like it. He's 29% owned, so he's out there in a lot of leagues. And his next start is coming up against the White Sox, and I like those odds. I like you know putting against bad teams. Now I understand they've been hitting pretty well, and they got some big bats in that lineup, but I still think that Tyone will be able to handle it. He's been handling a lot of teams recently. The Rangers really well, went 5 deep and got 4 Ks, 1.69 ERA. Start before that, handled Cincy, 5 Ks, 3.18 ERA. San Diego didn't get knocked around too bad, 3.86 ERA. Dodgers knocked him around, of course, but handled the Mets very nicely. Got 9 Ks against Pitt, even though gave up 9 ERA at a 9 ERA. Tampa Bay, 4.5 ERA, and handled the Angels pretty nicely. Honestly, I don't think the White Sox are too damaging or too threatening that Tyone can't come out here and have a good start. Again, if you don't need him, don't do it. Obviously, he's going to be starting on Saturday, so you have a little time to add and see. You can also just play the keep away game too. If you don't want to start him, but you don't want him started against you, you can add him and then drop him, and then he won't clear waivers. Not the nicest strategy, but sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. But you don't have to start him. Right now, I feel like you just got to roll him out there if you're in a position where you need the pitching, and I feel like he could be valuable for you. So I'm rolling out. I'm rolling him out there if I in the leagues where I'm struggling and I'm behind in pitching, and leagues that I'm not and I'm kind of on the fence. I'll roll him out there, and where I'm way ahead, I'm not going to risk it. It's not worth it. I only start sure things at that point. But Tyone is a great option to pivot with if you're in a bind and need that start. Let's move on. Let's switch over to some bats. Let's talk about Mr. Samuel Basallo of the Baltimore Orioles. 37% owned, has catcher eligibility, and cranking the ball of late. This last week, 3 runs, 2 ribs, batting 389. The last 2 weeks, batting 333. Honestly, we could be right at the cusp of something that's happening big for him. Just gets intriguing when you see a big bat like this. It start getting hot and possibly just getting off to a spot where you're just like, I could totally see this going somewhere right now. And why not take advantage of a guy that's about to go off, right? So when it comes to Basallo, you just got to look at, okay, what has he been doing lately? How powerful has his bat been, etc. And let's take a deep dive into there. I'm trying to pull it up as we speak because unfortunately, I didn't think this one through, but I'm getting it right now. Basallo is. Here we go. Sorry about that. Here we go. Basallo has been doing really well. 10.3 barrel percentage over the last 2 weeks, a 51.7% hard hit percentage. We all know how I feel about it. If you're new to the show, when I see a really good barrel percentage, usually over around 10% or higher, mixed with a hard hit percentage, that's going to lead to more power. So barrel percentage just means quality contact. Hard hit percentage with the quality contact normally leads to balls going over the fence. He's doing a very good job at the plate. He's only striking out 21% of the time. Now, the walks are something that concerns me at 2.6%. So he's either going to crank one for the fence or he's going to strike out. Essentially, he's not going to get on base or possibly even fly out. Um, Ground ball percentage at 44.8%, which could be part of the reason why things aren't going his way as much. Um, ultimately, if he hasn't hit home runs, it could just be it's not getting a great launch angle. On the season, his launch angle is in 38th percentile. That could explain a few things. He probably needs to work on the lift a little bit, maybe pull the ball a little bit more. But ultimately, I'm not mad at it. I think things are going to come, um, you know, and probably a little bit streaky for now until he figures out that angle. But I mean, shoot, there's no way where I'm not seeing him about to get hot, especially if you're hitting 389 over a couple weeks and you're crushing the ball like this. It's a matter of time. So I'm going to try and get on this now. At least he's producing in the batting average category, getting on base. And once those home runs start, here we go. I mean, he's catcher eligibility. If you're dealing with an underperforming catcher and you just need a break, or your catcher is just it's time to go. Basallo is the pickup right now, being that he's 37% owned. He's widely available in 73.3% of leagues. He should be added everywhere. There's no reason he should be on your waiver wire at this point with the heater he might possibly start turning on. So everywhere. Also, and just on a betting side of things too, I'm probably doing this on Kalshi, and I'm making a trade on there of Basayo hitting a dinger at some point this week, and then on FanDuel, I'm also doing it as well. So, anytime home run, it seems so like now with just the quality contact and the hard hit percentage combo, it's just screaming, it's almost there. But let's move on. Let's talk about AJ Ewing. AJ Ewing is 36% owned, just recently called up as well. He's an interesting one. Second and outfield eligible. Says 5 total at bats in the season. So, I mean, we're going to take this with a grain of salt and really just dive into who he is before really just, judging him by his, you know, quick little stat. But he hit his first major league home run today as I'm recording on the 14th. Batted 500 on the night, looking real good. And on top of that, since he's been up, he's gone, 1 for 5 and 2 for 4, and literally a couple games. I'm not mad at this. Now he's going to turn around and do this. It's looking good. He has an OPS of like a 125, even though he hasn't been turning on the average and things like that, which speaks a little bit more of the volumes. He is a good hitter. Not really known for the power if you look at under the hood, but what I will say is at least he's able to get the stolen bases. He had 70 stolen base season in 2025, 17 before getting the call this year. So he is fast. He does hit for average normally. He is a guy that also walks pretty decently as well. So at least he's going to be driven in and playing for the Mets. Once Lindor comes back, the way Soto's been crushable, he hit a home run today. It just Ewing is in a position where he could be contributing. In leaving stolen base help, average, he's going to be a perfect tool guy, probably be a 3-category contributor. I would say stolen base, average right now, and runs, and maybe run here or there. And if you play an OPS, it might also be in your favor that way. In points, not going to hurt you. He can only help you, being the fact that he has the profile of not striking out as much and walking enough to counteract it. So he might be worth it at 36% ownage rostered. So like they're an atom if you need it. Again, second base is pretty hard to come by right now. Players are just not healthy. So, definitely worth it, or just not performing either. So when it comes to AJ Ewing, he's an ad for me. Again, second in outfield eligibility for the New York Mets. Coming up next, we got a couple more bats. We're going to get ahead of the waiver, a guy that's hot, and again, a prospect. All coming up right after this. The NBA playoffs are here, and every position matters. If you're you're looking to get even closer in on the action, FanDuel has a great offer for you to get started with. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. That's right. Turn $5 into 150 bets, 150 in bonus bets to get started. I like FanDuel during the playoffs because everything I need is right there and all in one place. You can check your stats, the trends, matchups before you're making your pick, and you can make a whole experience feel a little bit more informed. Whether you're looking for a player prop or just following your favorite stars, it just adds another level of excitement to every game. It's a really easy app to navigate. It makes playoff basketball even more engaging just from start to finish. Use a website to look up your current lineups, odds, personalize your audience. Head to fanduel.com to get started. It's FanDuel, play your game. And honestly, like I said before, Basallo might be a great anytime home run. Pair that up with, somebody in the same game of, getting a hit and, you know, pitching totals don't even have to go crazy. And you're going to win big. Honestly, the Basallo probably, what do you call it? Return will be ridiculous on its own for an anytime home run. I'd slap a $5 bet on that all day. But all right, let's get back into it. Next up we got my boy Zach Gelof. The A's, thought he was going to be good kind of type guy, but he's hot right now. Let's put it that way. I'm not really like a big Gelof guy anymore. He fooled us all, but the Swiss Army knife is doing some good things right now. Second, third outfield eligibility, playing for them Athletics, 13% owned, and has been very hot of late and is worth a consideration for ad. Hit another home run today. Sorry, I don't know how long my mic was muted for, but I'm not going to pause. I'll just pretty much just say, hey, look, Zach Gelof is a guy that I'm adding here, and has hit a home run today. And quite honestly, having the 5 runs, the 3 bombs, the 5 ribs over the last week, batting about 265, makes him intriguing for an ad. I can confidently say I want him literally everywhere in the short term. For long-term value, not so much. I'm not really feeling him. When it comes to him, yeah, he's doing some things right, but the underlying stats aren't really equating to much appeal for me. 9.4 barrel percentage, hard hit percentage of 41.5%. Launch angle's absolutely in the toilet. And the dude loves to strike out and not really walk. He whiffs like crazy. Yeah, he's brought down his chase in the small sample size of the season, but like ultimately, when it comes to Gelof, I'm like not a big fan of him in general. But in the short term, while he's hot and he's cranking the ball, I'm going to take a shot on him. Again, second base is pretty rough this year. So ultimately, like Gelof is somebody you need to add, unfortunately, for now. Right? Like it is what it is. But yeah, let's move on. Let's talk about Kyle Teal. Now, this is another one kind of getting ahead of the waivers when it comes to players coming back. We didn't do the mustache episode, so I'm not going to repeat the whole song and dance here. But Teal had a really good outing in spring, really good WBC, and unfortunately goes down to hammy. Now, he comes out in a rehab game, 2-run homer, looking real good, picking right up where he left off, 4 years old. Still go on him playing for the White Sox. When he comes back, that actually makes that lineup a little bit more enticing between him, Montgomery, and I can never say his name, so I'm not going to. But ultimately, like Teal is going to be stepping into a position where he actually is going to have a lot of value. I think that ultimately he's going to start being an everyday catcher for someone, and him being 11% owned right now in Teal, that you just probably should add him and get away because he can also get activated at any point in time. At this point, he probably is going to be ready by the end of May. The end of May is essentially between now and the following week, right? Like wild enough, Memorial Day weekend is next weekend, and boom, we're at the end of the month. So like this is kind of just getting ahead of the waiver wires, throwing him on your IL for a couple days. He might even get activated over the weekend if he's starting to look real strong. So yeah, he hasn't had a lot of warm up time, but he had a lot of real baseball prior to this. He didn't miss spring training. Essentially, he played in the WBC. So Teal, I think, is going to just step right into it, and they're not going to be, you know, as conservative as they normally would have because he had some play. And now it's just time to get it going here. So I think with Teal, it's time to go. I think he's going to be activated very soon. So he's a must add for me. Now, so about Henry Bolt. I can't really say his name either, unfortunately. Let's reference something here. So Bolte, Henry Bolte of the I want to say Oakland, but of the Las Vegas Athletics. So he stands 6'3", 195 pounds. I know Dom talked about him the other day, and I'm going to keep this simple. But if you're new and you've stayed this long, I'm going to give you at least my take of who he is. So he's a guy that looks like he can hit some home runs. I mean, this year he already had 12 home runs through 158 at bats. You go the year before, didn't have as many home runs, but the past couple of years has been looking like he's been putting the bat to the ball pretty well. Now, him coming out this year, getting his first little start on things, I'm thinking I'm interested at least. I want to kind of see what I can get out of him. So far in his first major league appearance yesterday for me, I'm recording on the 14th, went 2 for 2. Today went 1 for 4. So he's getting hits and he's getting on base and he's doing what he needs to do. This is positive signs for a young bat coming into the bigs for the first time. It just kind of tells you, hey, he's got a good eye. Hey, he's going to do some things right out the gate. And that gets a little exciting. He has a 30 for 45 power grade, raw power 55 out of 60. Speed is ridiculous. And just to quantify that for you, in terms of stolen bases, 2024, he had 46 stolen bases in a single season. 25, he had 44 stolen bases. And so far, like I said, 158 at bats, he had 17 stolen bases already. Power, it's TBD. I mean, I like the raw power numbers. Maybe it'll elevate. He is a big boy, but the speed alone is intriguing. You look at that. What's the possible outcomes for him? Mid 250s, I think. Batting average, maybe this year, maybe 240s, but is going to do damage, I feel. And if the power can translate with the speed, things can get real interesting really quick. So I'm adding him again, 17% owned, outfield eligibility. Outfield's been real rough this year. I mean, we've lost a hell of a lot of players. If you're down you're down the Luis Roberts, you're down any outfielder that's gotten hurt this year. Bolte should step in and at least be short-term relief. And let's see where this goes. I'm going to give him a little bit of a short leash, but I mean, hey, this is intriguing and positive signs for me. Now things could be short-lived, but I mean, you're going first 2 outings into the bigs, and you're getting a hit in both game and multi-hit game in the first outing, hit in the second one, and just doing what you're supposed to do out there just tells you that this kid is looking to stay in the bigs and could possibly be a contributor. I'm going to take a shot on it for sure. So he's an ad for me as well. But all right, guys, that's it for today. Please like, subscribe, comment, rate, review, do everything you can to share the show. Remember, we're coming to you twice a day, 5 days a week to help you win your leagues. And if you're on video, I send you over to our to Locked On, his first 24/7 podcast channel where we're going to just hang you with all of our stuff all day. So subscribe to that. And if you're listening audio, check out our boy Sully over at Locked On MLB. And don't forget to just tune in here twice a day. It will help you win your league. Peace out.